2023 looks set to be one hell of a year for the UFC, as they build off last year's own riveting set of fights for a 12-month period that should spring up more than a few surprises. So with an eye on the fights that are pretty much confirmed, I'm going to take a stab at predicting the best upcoming fights in the UFC this year. Taila Santos versus Erin Blanchfield. To kick things off, we have a fight that may well give us a pretty solid indication of where things at 125 pounds are headed in the second half of the year. Taila Santos did a lot better than most people expected in there with the champion Valentina Shevchenko, and a part of me does see her as a more reliable pick than Erin Blanchfield. But despite her young age, the 23-year-old Blanchfield is just about as good a prospect as the division has right now. And though I would be cautious of picking her to dominate against an opponent this good, I will back her to impress. She beats Taila by decision. Rob Font versus Adrian Yanez. In recent times, a disturbing pattern has emerged in Rob Font's ongoing run. There's an argument to be made that he should have beaten Marlon Vera and Jose Aldo, but in pivotal moments in winnable rounds, he was hurt badly or even dropped by these bigger hitters. And across from him, Adrian Yanez has some of the best hands in the lower weight classes right now, and for that reason I think he gets Font out of there within the first 10 minutes. Valentina Shevchenko versus Alexa Grasso. Alexa Grasso has been very quietly compiling a very commendable win streak within the 125-pound division, and last time out we received the most definitive proof yet of Valentina Shevchenko's status as a somewhat beatable champion. With her 35th birthday just around the corner in March, Shevchenko must be slowing down soon, right? Well, even if that is the case, I'm not sure if Grasso is going to be the one to bring the Bullet era to its end, so I'll go with Valentina taking this one. Jeff Neal versus Shavkat Rachmanov. Jeff Neal has worked up a sneakily good resume within that welterweight mix. He's already been in there with some of the very best in the division, and his finish of Vicente Luque last time around really did take his stock to another level. But if you watch this channel regularly, you'll know that Shavkat Rachmanov is probably my favorite prospect in the sport. The way he balances a highly methodical and patient approach with a flawless knack for finishing, yeah, I think he's headed straight to the top. I reckon for this fight he survives some early problems with Jeff Neal, figures him out, drops him, and finds a submission in round 2. Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal has had a pretty dire run of form, but let's not forget that he has been in there with some of the best welterweights on the planet, Colby Covington and twice with Kamaru Usman. People can be pretty quick to write off a fighter's chances at recapturing form. Jorge is by no means young, but in there with Gilbert Burns, I think he has a chance. Burns is of course a powerful and skilled striker with an outstanding ground game, but in a matchup with Gamebred on the feet, I expect this to be more evenly contested than most, and I do think Burns goes down that route. I do believe that he will find the win in the third round, but Masvidal, in my opinion, will be in this fight right up until he's not. Petr Yan versus Merab Dvalishvili. This next one could be dicey for the former champion Petr Yan. Despite scoring his last 2 fights against him, I still think there's a possibility that Yan is the best bantamweight on the planet. But even with that being the case, Merab Dvalishvili could be a nightmare matchup for him. That smothering high-intensity style, it could really mess with Yan's ability to make reads early on, leading to him losing valuable time to collect data. But at this stage, I have to put faith in the greatness of Petr Yan, and in my opinion, I think he's great enough to figure Merab out. So for my prediction, I think he's going to take a hard-fought decision to get back into the win column. Marlon Vera versus Corey Sandhagen. I saw a funny tweet recently where someone posted a picture of an unconscious fighter, labeled "This is what Corey Sandhagen is going to look like," after outstriking Marlon Vera 121-34, or something like that. And that really is the danger here. But I think Corey Sandhagen is one of the most underrated talents in the sport. And while Vera also has an argument for being of that same category, I think Corey is being a little overlooked in this one. I'm going to back him to make the necessary improvements to his game and figure out a way to avoid Cheeto's biggest shots, taking the win on the scorecards. Justin Gaethje versus Raphael Fiziev. I have a bad feeling about this one, a gut feeling that this is about to go really bad for Justin Gaethje. As I outlined in my overall predictions video for this year, I think Gaethje is in trouble in there with Fiziev, a hard-nosed fighter who hits like a truck and will come forward with a clean, precise, and truly nasty boxing game. It's not like I want to see the highlight lose in any fashion, but I think Fiziev is about to make one hell of a statement here with a massive second round knockout. Max Holloway versus Arnold Allen. This is a real crossroads fight for Max. After going 0-3 against the champion at 145 pounds, he really will need to do something outstanding to get another title shot. lot. His rather slight physical frame and volume-based fighting style might not make a move to 155 pounds a realistic option without some serious reworking, so for now a featherweight he remains. Arnold Allen is good, he's really good, and though his last win was one that came due to an injury, I do see him as a top 5 talent or thereabouts. But this is Max Holloway we're talking about, and if his confidence remains intact, I think he will find a way to slowly take this one over. It'll be a chess match, but I think Max finds 3 rounds in there against Allen to take home a win on the scorecards. Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor. The most recently announced bout of the lot comes in next, the lightweight or perhaps even welterweight collision of Michael Chandler and the returning Conor McGregor. Everything from the inactivity, the poor form, the lack of evolution inside the cage with the game, these things should work against the soon-to-be 35 McGregor. But as someone who always thinks the fight game is more fun when McGregor's involved, I think if Chandler doesn't play it smart here, which I think he's liable to do, I see Conor catching him. Some of the shots that Conor was able to land on Dustin Poirier might not sit as well on Chandler's chin. So yeah, spare me the talk of bias or fanboyishness. I'm simply an onlooker who enjoys a bit of chaos every now and then, and I think Conor can do this. And while there are many X factors that may play a part, I'm gonna side with McGregor to get Chandler out of there pretty quickly. Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman 3. Leon Rocky Edwards deserves all of the credit in the world for how he handled himself in that 5th round against Kamaru Usman. But I think his coaches were shouting at him not to give up for a reason. The dude was being handled, and while he found the perfect escape route, I just don't think that lightning is going to strike twice. I do see Kamaru coming back with a vengeance. If his age doesn't finally catch up with him, and yeah, I think he finds a finish in the middle portions of this one. Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya 2 or 4, depending on how you look at it. In a similar vein to the Edwards-Usman rematch, I think the finish that came in Pereira versus Adesanya has in some ways overshadowed what preceded it, and with good reason. But here's the difference. Alex Pereira has danger levels in there that go beyond any fighter in this sport, and his track record against the last stylebender at this point is inarguable. But I am backing Israel Adesanya to get this done, because I believe that he is a great fighter and will find a way to build on the success he had in the first fight. But this is not a confident pick. Poatan is pretty clearly the real deal, so keep your money in your pocket when it comes to betting on this rematch. Ciryl Gane versus John Jones. And finally we come to perhaps the toughest prediction of the lot. How good is John Jones going to look at heavyweight? Will his time away from the cage affect him in the type of way we've seen it affect so many others? And even if he does come back in prime form, is Ciryl Gane actually great enough to just be a better heavyweight fighter? All valid questions, and ones that we really can't answer definitively without dipping further into speculation than any other fight here would demand. The fan in me has to believe that he is capable of doing the unthinkable, coming back after a long layoff to win UFC gold in the most difficult division of them all. I have to believe that John is going to shock the world, because looking at this fight in terms of a breakdown, there are just too many unknowns to get any deeper into it. I think John is going to submit Ciryl Gane late in the fight, and that will just about bring us to the end of our predictions. So how do you think we did? Do you think you can do better? How about you take a shot at predicting these fights in the comments below, and we can all have a big laugh about it when MMA Dive comes out on top once again. And if you do want to help in supporting the channel, liking the video and subscribing would do wonders. Thank you for watching.